Welcome to this extract from a longer interview with Chris Alyssia from Awake TV, and this extract is speaking about upgrading the ego from 3D to 4D to 5D. I hope you enjoy.
I've studied the Ascension process from multiple different traditions. Mary Magdalene's, Buddha's 7 Factors of Awakening, they all talk about one of the first things you need to do is get a hold of your ego to the point where you at least know what's coming from the ego and what's coming from your spirit so that you can start to navigate that relationship. So just hearing that there's, and I completely agree, shifting from 3D to 5D is crucial, especially at this time where the ego is screaming with all the talking heads going on about you're going to die, you're going to get this virus, nobody can eat, there's no jobs, the economy's crashed, nuclear weapons, everybody's up here, and you got to get it back to here.
It's true, yeah. Well, in 3D we need an ego because 3D is dangerous. It's not, right. 3D is not a lovely, happy, I mean, you've been in the military, if you go into Afghanistan and go, we're going to sit on a rock and just do our affirmations, it may not work so well. So we have an ego to go, watch out, be careful, go down that road. And of course, some people's egos don't even function well in the 3D world. They're not really functioning well there. So the thing with an ego, we need an ego that's fluid and flexible and open, and one that can grow and accommodate many different maps of reality, not just, well, this is what works here, so I'm going to just spread it everywhere and do the same thing. For example, I'm an authoritarian boss at work, so therefore at home I'll just be that way with my children or my wife. All this, that just doesn't work. So we need to have a certain amount of flexibility and fluidity, and be willing to change and grow and upgrade. Even in 3D, we need to do that. In 3D, the ego is about separation consciousness. It's about us and them. It's about, in America, it would be Republicans versus the Democrats. Who's the right, who's the wrong? In England, it's Labour and Conservative and any other party that's in between. And it's the newspapers. Who's to blame? Who's taking responsibility? Who should be fired? That's all the 3D, Which country can we invade and grab their resources? All of that. Who are the terrorists? Who are the good guys? The good guys, the bad guys. The old John Wayne movies. There's always the good guys and the bad guys. Yeah. And in 4D it shifts. The core of 4D is I'm more than my body. There are many lifetimes. I'm a soul, and this is just one lifetime. That's one part of it. And there are other aspects to it, which like I'm a masculine and a feminine energy. They're both in me. And the other energy, which is very spiritual, and it's a new one on the planet, is I create my reality and I co-create my reality. And that concept has not been on the planet for a long time. It doesn't exist in 3D because I don't create my reality. The government creates reality, or my boss creates reality, or my mother-in-law or wife create my reality, or whatever it is, or husband, or But in 4D, it's suddenly, hey, I created. And I remember when I heard this in 1991, I think, or 1992, we create our own reality. I heard a channel talking about this, and I go, that's amazing, that statement. I've never heard it before. It resonated so strongly, but I didn't get it. I mean, what does it mean? And I spent a long time going into it. What does it mean? I create my reality. I co-create my reality. I read all the Seth books, the great channel Seth, channel by Jane Roberts, a brilliant channel, absolutely amazing channel. And The Nature of Personal Reality is one of the most brilliant books written on how we create our reality. I've read it 10, 12 times, and I don't think I could get more than 20% of it, really. It's just so deep, the whole thing. And so that's 4D. So in 4D, we do the mantras, we do the affirmations, we do the vision boards to start creating our reality. We watch our language, we change our wording, we focus on the positive, we kind of clear out the negative and all that stuff. We focus on what we want rather than what we don't want. That's 4D. I did so much of that stuff, so much mantras, so much rituals, so much manifestation. It's absolutely brilliant, and it taught me a lot. But in 5D, the shift into 5D is unity consciousness. It's I am one with source energy. I'm one with my higher self. I'm one with all these forces at work in the universe. The world is my mirror, and I can change the mirror by changing myself. And the other aspect of 5D is I stabilize my vibration. It's all about vibration. It's not so much about manifestation, it's about vibration. If I stabilize in peace, in joy, in love, if I remove all limits to love, all limits to joy, all limits to peace, all limits to possibility, then 5D becomes a wild ride, an amazing ride. I mean, these days I just simply think wouldn't it be nice to do X or Y? And then somehow it kind of happens. If it's in line with where I'm going, it kind of doors open and it happens. And so that's where I'm at. It's more about vibration than doing all the vision boarding for me at the moment. So they're the shifts. So we can't take a 3D ego into 4D. Our ego has to shift into 4D. Our ego has to accommodate, I create my reality. There are all these energies inside of me. It's a much more fluid way of being. And in 5D, we have to shift up again into another state. Our ego, which fights the journey. Our 3D ego will fight. If you or me go into 4D, then it's the death of the 3D ego. It views it that way. This ego will not exist in the same way, so it fights. And it fights in all kinds of ways. It fights by avoidance, distraction, busyness, drama, addiction, doubt, fear. And even if you start dealing with your own inner emotions, other people start coming into your face. The doubting committee, your mother, your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, your husband starts going, what are you doing? Are you losing your mind? And they're reflecting a certain level of our doubt that we haven't completely dealt with. Once we deal with all our ego issues, the world stops reflecting it back to us. So these days I do get some reflection still, but they're more light-hearted. They're more joyful. Like my kids would say to me, Dad, what are you up to now? And I'd say, I'm up to no good. And they would laugh, and I laugh. That's the standard. I'm doing something weird. Oh, okay, Dad, you're doing something weird. Okay, fine, we'll leave you alone. And we can laugh about it. I don't have to get into any deep discussions with them about it. I mean, the last time I did get into a deep discussion was around the dinner table, where I just threw it in as a curveball. I did it deliberately. I said, I did a magic mushroom ritual 2 weeks ago, and their reactions was classic. As if they're my parents telling me off about what I should and shouldn't do. I should be more responsible and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, it led to an interesting conversation. The journey of awakening, the soul calls us, wake up. Like Neo, wake up, Neo. Morpheus is offering the red pill and the blue pill, and the ego goes, no, don't take it, don't go down that rabbit hole, it's dangerous. Who knows where you're going to go? Keep safe, which is the ego says. So when I was working in a kind of corporate job, I worked in the city for 10 years, and I went in local government, middle management job, and I really couldn't bear it anymore. I really needed, the soul was calling me out, and I remember asking the universe, should I resign from this job? And I was walking in my lunch break back to work, and I saw this T-shirt, back of a T-shirt, a guy was walking in front of me, and it was Nike, Just Do It. The Nike brand, Just Do It? And it hit me like a thunderbolt. That's the answer to my question. I need to resign. I knew it all along, but then my ego came in and said, don't tell me. I could hear this conversation going in my head. You're not going to resign because of a T-shirt, are you?
Absolutely. Just a coincidence. It's not for you.
It's not for me. And I was like, yeah, I mean, the job's well paid, and I've got a mortgage, and blah, blah, blah. And I was walking down the road, and I looked in this window, and I saw the same sign in the window, Just Do It. I thought, you know what? I asked the question, I'm just going to do it. I resigned. The next day, I felt absolutely exhilarated. There was a double rainbow, in the morning. I thought, that's a good sign. I'm on track. But it was a bumpy ride for a year and a half. It wasn't easy. I resigned with no job to go to, no savings. So I wouldn't say it was easy, but it was fine. It worked out all right. And my ego was really, oh my God. I used to wake in the morning, what are you doing? What are you doing on this journey? And then when I woke up, when I had the second kind of calling back in 2016 after the dark night, I woke up, teach about starseeds and Ascension. And I remember my ego going, don't tell me you're going to do this, don't tell me. And but that's why I was meditating, going, there's another level of resistance in me, and resistance happens.
Absolutely.
And the rule I have is the bigger the jump, the bigger the resistance. Usually, the bigger the step up, the bigger the resistance.